what would you say are the three traits that would make someone fit to be a Navy SEAL?
It's surprising people. When I got there, and you'll hear this. And again, I always have to be very careful. I never had the pleasure of being able to operate. I did a lot of stuff as a private military contractor, but I never got my platoon. I never got that honor to have those guys. So I'm speaking only from my observations, and I'm speaking from having a tremendous amount of friends in there and where it's at. But if I would say consistency, it is. You can't look at somebody physically and you're very surprised. I saw a lot of Division I athletes that came in, just world-class guys that they got a little bit of cold water and they quit. And then you'd see this kid, kind of a doughy looking farm boy from the Midwest who just, you couldn't stop him. He was just like, no matter what they threw at him, he might not be the fastest guy, but he was tenacious and he made it through. So it's really surprising. It does come down to a level of mental toughness, but not the bullshit Instagram motivational stuff. It's like really it has to be an inner desire. You have to want it, and how you compartmentalize hard evolutions. Like the big thing that you learn, especially in SEAL training, is if anybody tells you there's a time where they don't want to quit, they're lying. There's something that happens because it's designed. The training is designed, no matter what your skill sets are, it'll find something within the training that'll be difficult for you. And so what you have to do is you have to trick your mind into saying you have 4 meals throughout the day. That's the great thing about training is they do feed you. And so the mindset always was, okay, I'm going to quit at lunch. I'm going to get through. So I'm going to go into lunch and I'm going to quit. Well, you go into lunch and all of a sudden you got a hot cup of coffee, you got something, you start feeling a little bit better. You go, okay, I'll wait to quit so you're constantly going to quit at the next meal, for a while until you get over that. And then you just, you start playing those mind games with each other. If you sit there and think about the totality of the training, you go, oh my God, this is 6.5 months. You don't do that. What you do is you take it chunk by chunk and you go, okay, I'm going to get to lunch. I'm going to get to, dinner. I'm going to get to mid-rats. I'm going to get, and you take yourself throughout the day that way. And all of a sudden, you got 4 months behind you, and then it's just there. So I think that's one of the big things is not thinking about the totality. Just think about where you're at, and you want that Kaizen approach, that Japanese Kaizen concept of Kaizen, which is incremental success, just little improving just a little bit each time. If you can have that kind of mindset, it really helps you with something like that.
How could someone listening to this, because it's when I watch these movies or talk to the SEALs or the Army guys that I talk to, they do talk about mindset a lot. But I think that as a society, Americans, the UK, we're growing up even softer and softer and softer than before because of comfortability, right? We're all really, really comfortable. We've got AI writing the stuff that used to be difficult to write. We've got takeaways that can deliver food to the door because we can't be arsed going out. Everyone's getting more and more comfortable. So how could I toughen up my mindset?
It's really controlling. I believe it's the instant gratification that we get from social media and everything, and also knowledge base. Like, nobody's practicing mastery anymore. Everyone wants that instant gratification. So what I try to do, as an instructor, my main business for years has been, teaching people, how to deal with violence. And so I'll tell you one thing, I found myself at one point, a student came up to me and said something about a training session that I was doing. And that, hey, it wasn't until you said this, it was a throwaway comment that I said that really made all the difference. And what it was a very, very base level thing. And I realized, I'm not understanding what it's like to deal with new material anymore. And what I'm asking these people to do is challenging to most people. I'm asking them to deal with the tool of violence. So what I started doing was I started picking skill sets that I'd never done before. I just pick up something random and I go, okay, this year I'm going to learn this. And you go back to being that student and you go back to the crawl, walk, run, and when you all of a sudden, here I am really good at this, but now I'm going to jump over and do this and I suck. I'm terrible, you know, and will I stick with it? And how do I communicate? And how does this instructor communicate to me? And what you find out is you become better at what you do because now you understand what it's like to be that new person. You understand some of the things that they're doing. So I can make better, I can speak to them more intelligently on how to just focus on the necessary basics. The problem that I see with most people is exactly what you're saying, the instant gratification. For me, AI is fantastic because it can take 30 years of knowledge that I have, you know, all the things I've written, everything there, and I can help it compile something. It can literally go through everything that I've ever written. And I say, listen, I have a blog post that I want to do, and I want to emphasize this, this, and this. It can give me something that is really great. And I just do my edits. It's in my voice and everything. But I have that 30 years of real knowledge, you know, that I'm pulling from. So it's incredibly useful to me. What I notice a lot of times is people will use AI and you can quickly see there's nothing behind it, meaning that AI wrote it and some of it's correct, but you can tell they didn't know how to edit it correctly. They didn't know how to bring it up. And, you know, they're just going for the quick fix. And anybody now can go back. I think the biggest thing that we all can do is AI is going to take over a lot of things. I tell everybody the most valuable thing you can do is learn about human nature. Read everything you can about human nature and learning about it. You know, Robert Greene has a very great book on human nature. The 48 Laws of Power is very good. His books are great because they're very well done. And everything he talks about really is about human nature. And that's not going to change. That's the one thing that's going to remain constant, even with AI. You know, humans are going to be humans, and how we communicate with each other and how people manipulate you. The person that can communicate right now, when I go to hire somebody now, if I have somebody that is a great communicator, I'll take them because I can train the skills. What I can't train is that integration. If I want to freak out one of my younger instructors, I'll call them. I'll just call them out of the blue. And they're freak. Oh my God. What, Kim, what's wrong? What's wrong? I go, call and say hi. Like they cannot conceive that I didn't text them first, that I didn't, you know, but direct human communication is a lost art. And I think it's probably going to be one of the most needed skill sets in the next 20 years as all this other stuff happens. You know, how do we interact with each other? Because we've really lost that skill set. And it's absolutely critical, especially in, like, you know, areas like law enforcement, anything where you have to communicate with our human beings. We're producing a lot of police right now that literally have never put their hands on anybody, and they've never actually talked to anybody. You know, the best police are those that go into the neighborhood and they engage, and they know the community, and they know the players, and there's this a relationship that you have. And that's, you know, what I'm hearing from all of my friends now that are the trainers, you know, of these guys at the academies. They're going, these new kids that are coming out don't know how to talk. They don't know how to engage with each other. You know, it's a completely different skill set. So I do think that I think the opportunities with the domination of AI is going to be really going back to what we're really good at as humans, which is communicating with each other and then being creative our way. You know, it's not going to be rote memorization. It's not going to be a lot of the, you know, skill sets. Like, my friends that are lawyers are, you know, they're scared to death because the documents that are coming out now, they're getting closer and closer to not only beating what the best lawyers in the world can do, but also exceeding, you know, actually coming up with better things. I think medicine, same thing. You're going to see that the AI is going to surpass, you know, any human doctor very soon. So there's new skill sets that we have to focus on. But the one thing that AI has a difficulty doing is they'll say, oh, this has a PhD level knowledge. Well, it has a PhD level knowledge in specific things, but it's not like a human PhD that can do a lot of other things besides just the subject that they're good in. So I would double down on, you know, communication, speaking, engaging, all the things that we avoid right now. You know, I think those are going to be really, really, those that can effectively communicate are going to be really, you know, needed in the future, because it's just a lost art.
If you guys enjoyed that clip, please do me a huge favor before you go and head over to our Into the Mind podcast official page, where we have the raw, uncut Into the Mind podcast, and hit that subscribe button. And the more subscribers we get, the more incredible guests we can get on the show. I really appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you so much. And I'll see you all real soon.